Hey guys, thanks for stopping by to watch another video here at All I See Is W. In today's video, I'd like to cover the latest updates with Bitcoin as well as talk about the latest updates with strategy, also known as MicroStrategy, MSTR stock, what my price prediction is in the near term as well as in the remainder of 2025. We'll cover the latest updates, especially just with recent announcement from Senator Lummis pushing for policies integrating Bitcoin into national financial strategy, including establishing a strategic Bitcoin reserve and advancing stable coin legislation. And what does this all mean? We're beginning to see global game theory ramp up. I mean, MicroStrategy has been buying Bitcoin since 2020, over 5 years from now. So game theory has technically started. Now it's just we have more players at the global table now where we're seeing FOMO effect kick in. Now, with my recent prior video yesterday, we had announcement where the Canadian banks are buying up MSTR as the ultimate leverage play to Bitcoin. What does that mean? We're also hearing about JP Morgan Chase buying up MSTR, as well as Cantor Fitzgerald putting in a $1 billion investment in MSTR. So we're not bullish enough. MSTR is just going to keep going up at this price point, especially with the recent upward trajectory. We'll go through all of those updates. Now, if you're new to this channel, I would really appreciate you hitting the like and subscribing for more related content. First off, what we're looking at is the rainbow chart for Bitcoin. So why do I like looking at this? It really gives us color as to where we are with the Bitcoin bull cycle. So typically, especially before a halving event and after the halving event, that's when we see the Bitcoin bull cycle kick in, especially with the Bitcoin cycle happening April of 2025, 2024. We're not out of the woods yet. It's up until 2025 where we're going to see that top off with the price of Bitcoin. I'm forecasting as we head into March, April timeframe, we're expected to start seeing Bitcoin reach all-time high 130, $150,000 as we head towards the transition to Q4. Sometime around October, we'll be reaching all-time high. I'm expecting around the $200,000 per the price of Bitcoin. And we already heard from Kathy Woods. She's forecasting well before 2030. Bitcoin can very well reach $1.5 million per Bitcoin. Let's take a look here of this visual from Plan B on X. One of the key takeaways here is that we typically make money with these red dots here, and the red dots represent 6 months before and 18 months thereafter with the halving cycle. So anything in blue is when we're in that bearish cycle. So based on historical data, we're expected to see the red dots continue with this bull cycle up until from February to October timeframe. So we have about 10 months remaining just based on historical trends for this Bitcoin bull cycle expected to reach 200,000 for the price of Bitcoin. But what does this mean overall as we leverage Bitcoin with different types of plays, whether it's ETFs like IBIT or perhaps MSTR. We'll look at the data. We'll let the data tell the story as to what's happening behind the scenes here. Let's take a look at this posting with Michael Saylor, 21 rules of Bitcoin. So those who understand buy Bitcoin, those who don't criticize Bitcoin. Most of these people are those who don't believe in Bitcoin, don't even actually own Bitcoin. Three, everyone is against Bitcoin before they are for it. Four, you will never be done learning about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is powered by chaos. Bitcoin is the only game in the casino that we can all win. Basically, every casino games at the casino, you're basically probability to win is much lower than the house, right? Whether it's craps, blackjack, you name it, whether it's playing the slot machines. Basically, the way that the slot machine is programmed, it's programmed to pay, for electricity costs as well. So the casino is favored to win when you look at probability. And why is it that when you play craps, that the most common number that pops up, which is a seven, that's when the house wins because the casino is favored to win, but Bitcoin is the only game in the casino where you can win, where you can take control here. So what does this mean? We have the advantage as we invest in the crypto Bitcoin commodity here. So Bitcoin is the only thing in the universe that you can truly own. Eight, everyone gets Bitcoin at the price they deserve. Only buy Bitcoin with the money you can't afford to lose. Tickets to escape the matrix are priced in Bitcoin. 11, Bitcoin Insight is restricted to those with a need to know. All your models will be destroyed. The cure to economic ill is the orange pill. Be for Bitcoin, not against fiat. 15, Bitcoin is for everyone. Learn to think in Bitcoin. You don't change Bitcoin, it changes you. Laser eyes protect you from endless lies. Respect Bitcoin or it will make a clown out of you. 20, you do not sell your Bitcoin. 21, spread Bitcoin with love. So definitely some key takeaways here on the 21 rules of Bitcoin from the CEO strategy MSTR. Let's take a look here at recent updates here in that California, the state of California, they just bought up MicroStrategy stocks here. So investing millions and millions of dollars into MSTR. You look here, letting the data tell a story. California state teachers retirement system, they're using their monies. United States SEC information on Form 13F here. We're not bullish enough, even at the state level. California is now invested in strategy. Let's take a look at this recent posting here from X. Just in Union Bank of Switzerland has bought $1.2 billion worth of strategy at the average price of $289 per stock. Recently, we heard about Canadian banks buying, Cantor Fitzgerald, JP Morgan Chase, just recent news, and now even the Union Bank of Switzerland. So FOMO effect has really kicked in here. I think global game theory is really at play. Things are ramping up, especially with financial institutions buying up Bitcoin as the ultimate leverage to having Bitcoin. Let's take a look here just with all of the different US states. Now, here you see like a total of 12 states in the US that actually hold on to MSTR. You see here California, with the biggest HODL here. Florida here also with 268 million shares in Florida as well as Texas as well. So here we're only going to see more and more states buy up MSTR as well as ETFs, IBIT, as well as potentially at one point holding on to Bitcoin, buying up actual digital commodity here. But right now, what we're seeing is that the states, they're definitely leveraging MSTR as the ultimate leverage to holding on to Bitcoin. Let's take a look at this posting from Romeo. The craziest thing about MSTR, it has zero competition. If other companies adopt the Bitcoin strategy, they're not rivals, they're allies, making strategy even stronger. Name another company in this position. You can't. There are none. So Bitcoin HODL, very bullish comment here from Romeo. Definitely some great insights here. Let's take a look at Adam Livingston's comment today. So why MSTR holds an unsaleable position in the digital asset landscape. The moat has already been dug. In business strategy, a moat refers to a durable competitive advantage that protects a company from new entrants. You can think of that as barriers to entry. Definitely, MSTR has created that. Warren Buffett built Berkshire Hathaway into an empire by investing into companies with deeply entrenched moats. Businesses that competitors couldn't replicate without significant capital, expertise, or time. Michael Saylor has done the same for Bitcoin, but on an institutional scale. Strategy currently holds 478,000 Bitcoin, a position accumulated over multiple years at an average cost basis, dramatically below today's spot prices, which the current average is 60,000 per Bitcoin when you average the dollar cost average for the last 5 years. So definitely great movements from strategy. The company's ability to acquire Bitcoin at scale has effectively placed it in a category of its own. Any corporation, hedge fund, sovereign entity, or asset manager looking to replicate this strategy today faces a severe time disadvantage and a capital loss disadvantage. The competitive landscape has shifted irreversibly. Saylor acquired Bitcoin when it was still structurally mispriced, meaning new entrants must buy at 25 plus prices, while MSTR sits on a colossal hoard in buffet terms. MSTR today is equivalent to Coca-Cola in early 1990s, dominant, deeply entrenched, and compounding over time. MSTR is the institutional Bitcoin mining replacement. Most traditional investors fail to grasp what MSTR represents beyond its corporate structure. It is an alternative to Bitcoin mining for institutions that cannot or will not engage in direct digital asset operation. Mining requires massive CapEx investment in ASIC hardware, which rapidly depreciates. Operational costs tied to electricity, labor, and infrastructure. Geopolitical risks as governments frequently impose new regulations or outright bans on mining. Competitive hash rate expansion, which forces miners to continuously upgrade equipment just to maintain profitability. MSTR bypasses all of these obstacles. Instead of deploying capital into energy-intensive mining operations, it has structured its balance sheet to directly acquire Bitcoin, front-running future demand at the corporate level. Investors who buy MSTR gain Bitcoin exposure without assuming risk of mining economics, regulatory uncertainty, or hardware obsolescence. Moreover, MSTR's method of accumulating Bitcoin via strategic equity dilution is superior to mining in a game of theoretical sense. Bitcoin miners must sell Bitcoin to cover operational expenses, creating constant sell pressure. MSTR, by contrast, can issue stock to acquire Bitcoin, reinforcing the supply squeeze rather than contributing to sell side liquidity. Simply put, MSTR has transformed itself into a public traded synthetic mining operation with a perpetual ability to accumulate Bitcoin without energy costs, regulatory interference, or hash rate competition. Owning MSTR today is like buying early ExxonMobil. In the early days of petroleum, oil was a misunderstood commodity, much like Bitcoin was a decade ago. The companies that amassed reserves early gained outsized control over the market. As demand for oil skyrocketed due to industrialization, these companies became energy monopolies, dictating supply and pricing. Bitcoin is monetary energy. It is a finite digital commodity with deep structural demand but zero dilution over time. Like ExxonMobil locking up oil fields before global energy demand exploded, MSTR has already secured a dominant percentage of the future Bitcoin economy before sovereigns, pension funds, and mega corporations are forced to bid for it. As Bitcoin transitions from an emerging asset to global reserve standard, strategy holds the ultimate commodity reserve and holds it without a geopolitical risk of oil production, the constraints of physical logistics, or finite lifespan of fossil fuel resources. MSTR's competitive advantage is absolute. There will never be a future opportunity to replicate its Bitcoin accumulation strategy at these price levels. MSTR is the vanguard of institutional Bitcoinization. MSTR has already front-run its inevitable capital migration into Bitcoin. As institutional adoption accelerates, its balance sheet strategy will be vindicated on a global scale. Future corporate treasurers will not be able to deploy the strategy at anywhere near MSTR's cost basis. They will be left with only one rational choice: buy Bitcoin at spot or acquire MSTR shares as a proxy. In either case, MSTR's valuation stands to benefit potentially. The moat has been built, the game is already won. The only question left is who realizes it first. So, big bullish deep dive analysis here. Really great takeaways. Let's take a look at technicals here. Most of you are wondering what my price predictions are here. So, just overall, from a technical standpoint, what I see here is RSI is consistently low here and definitely with volumes, not really at that high pickup pace here. I definitely do see us in a bullish pennant flag pattern here with potential reverse patterns to start reaching up our prior resistance of 550. Tom Lee also did forecast that in the next like less than 40 days, we will very well see price of MicroStrategy reaching its all-time highs somewhere around that 750 resistance value here as we transition from like Q1 to Q uh, 2. But based on just my prediction, as Bitcoin price is expected to launch up to all-time high, especially with 8 months of bullish activity in this bull cycle, we're expected to see, that more than I'd say over $1,000 range. I'm forecasting in a best case moderate scenario, we'll see upside over $1,200 as price of Bitcoin reaches over 180,000, 200,000 in the year 2025. That's my overall technical analysis update. So with that, I want to play a short clip from Michael Saylor here.
You're speaking like a crypto trader right now, right? Yeah, I mean, maybe you're doing it just to represent their interest, but I don't see the world that way. I think that Bitcoin is sound money. It's the technically superior asset class compared to the dollar, the euro, the peso, the bolivar, compared to a stock index, compared to gold, compared to silver, compared to everything you can conceivably buy. It is technically, thermodynamically superior as an asset. So when you say things like that to me, and maybe you just do it just to see what I'll say back, I just imagine you preaching to me in Argentina while you're asking me if I'm going to sell the dollars and buy pesos back again as the peso sleeps from 20 to the dollar to 40 to the dollar to 80 to the dollar. Or if we're in, Venezuela. I mean, you think a Venezuelan company is going to like, quote unquote, take some money off the table by selling their U.S. stocks and their U.S. dollars to buy back into local currency. So then, in Zimbabwe, you think they would take money off the table, right? Like the point is, if you have the superior asset, it's going up forever, Laura.
So there you have it. I hope you found this video valuable. If you did, I would really appreciate you hitting the like, subscribing, comment down below. Let me know where you're watching from, what your predictions are.